Help. My writer/artist friend is plagiarizing work, and profiting off it. Longish post. Background, I, 23F, and friend I'll call A, 24NB, have known each other for 5 years. They are a budding artist and writer who is receiving a lot of opportunities recently. A and I were best friends and lived together until I moved out and began to distance myself during the pandemic due to their generally low-stakes compulsive lying and taking of my things. Recently our friendship has bounced back and they have been going to therapy, so I thought things were settling. Drama, A has received funding, $2,000,000 from a gallery to create visual and written work. The gallery posted a podcast interview with A, alongside a reading of one of A's poems, and a discussion of their writing method. I have discovered that 80% of A's poem is lifted from another poet's work. Some of these lines have a few words changed while others are identical. These lifted lines are from lots of different sections of a /200-page long prose poem by a successful contemporary poet. Also, a lot of A's other contribution to the podcast that is ostensibly off the cuff is taken verbatim from other sociological sources, academic journals, local heritage sites, amateur historians' websites, etc. Advice: I am really grossed out at A stealing the work of other writers, and profiting off this theft, especially as some of it from amateur historians. I don't know how/when/in what setting I should confront them. I don't want to ruin their career but also don't want to let them off so easily that they think it's dealt with, distance themselves from me and do it again in a year. Too long didn't read. Caught writer friend performing a stolen poem in a paid residency. What should I do? I would really not recommend confronting your friend. It sounds like this is a very chronic problem, not a one-off. You already mentioned their compulsive lying. They will be defensive and make excuses, or promise to make it right, or any number of things. You should contact the original creator and/or the organization that is paying for their residency. The latter probably the best. Would be less aggressive, I think. I'm not one for public humiliation. By all means give someone time to make amends, but this instance is so serious and incredibly dishonest, and frankly the only way they can make amends is to return the money and confess. Swifter and cleaner to go to the source. I would contact the authors of the original work, so they can take legal action. This would mostly make sense for published work, for example, the poem book. Also, there are online tools to check your own work for plagiarism. You could use those to find out how much of your friend's work is copied. Your friend is a plagiarizer, and one who is profiting off the hard work of others. There's no way around that. You can express how upset you are, but that's not going to make things right. The gallery is being cheated and original artists snubbed. Get in touch with the original creators of the artwork, as well as the gallery. They'll both appreciate the heads up. The gallery will not risk promoting the work of someone so dishonest, especially if the original creator comes forth. I second this. As a writer, nothing hurts more than someone stealing work you put so much time and emotion on. I have no sympathy for anyone who plagiarizes. Make up your own shit. Why be a writer if you're going to steal someone's work anyway? I'd email the podcast anonymously with the tip about the plagiarism so that they can make a statement and preserve their own credibility. The publishing house of the contemporary poet/the poet themselves. You would not be ruining their career. They ruined their career by choosing to plagiarize another artist's work, so the responsibility is 100% on them. I'm not a lawyer, but if they're making money from this plagiarism they could be sued for it. If it were me, I would contact them about it and get their side of the story. If the lines are identical, then it's unlikely it was an accident, so I'd be curious how they explained the overlap. You could even highlight a few of the identical lines and show them. I'd also let them know that I would not lie for them, so if anyone ever asks about it, I'd tell the truth. There was a very famous incident with internet writer Jason Blair, who got into a lot of trouble for plagiarizing articles, so your friend would do well to keep in mind the consequences of this behavior. Also, how much more embarrassing would this be for your friend if it became a huge thing on social media rather than a friend pointing it out to them and giving them a chance to correct it and make amends? If your friend is getting noticed for their work, it's probably only a matter of time before someone finds out. Regardless what you say, your friend may very well do it again, but fixing it now will at least give them an opportunity to salvage their reputation. My 33 FFWB, late 40 SM, is hinting I buy him things and I can't decide if it's teasing gone too far or maybe a cultural thing. We met in the fall a few times and got to know each other on a group chat for a shared hobby. I'm in an open relationship and things got flirty, so we eventually started talking privately and met up for some fun. I brought some booze with me, a 26 of rum, because he only has an expensive scotch that I don't like. I have a few drinks from it and forgot to take it with me. He finished it off. It's been a few weeks and we're planning to meet up tonight, but during flirting over the past week I've been a bit concerned with how he's been hinting that I bring that scotch with me this time, $70 bottle, because he can't downgrade from scotch because he gets a hangover. I point blank told him he had expensive taste and I'll just bring something for myself, and he laughed and said okay, but consider the scotch. He also made a joke about oral being what I'm paying him for. At the time I laughed and thought it was funny, but now I'm wondering. He made a comment about me being the richest in our group chat because I own a business, and I shut that down because it's still growing and I'm not taking a salary other than some spending cash here and there. I don't drive a fancy car or anything. He's never seen my home. He's spent way more on our shared hobby than I have. I said if he's looking for a sugar mama he's barking up the wrong tree, and he laughed, so I thought it was just kind of a joke going a bit too far. But this morning he sent me a link to some shoes he wants for Christmas. I ignored it and moved to another topic, but now this is moving into red flag territory and I don't know if I should just stop seeing him or try to address this. There is a bit of a language barrier. He's Dominican and I'm white, if that makes a difference culturally. I know a friend of mine had a rental in Jamaica that was essentially a guy she spoiled, and he kept her safe while she partied on vacation and they had sex. Not only is this not something I can do because of my relationship rules, no gifts, no accepting gifts, but I don't want to do it and I don't have the money for it. What do I do? Any advice or insight? The cultural thing would be helpful. Maybe I should just complain about being broke and ask if he can pay for booze tonight and see what happens. Thanks. Update: I asked him if he was going to treat himself to the shoes for Christmas and he replied that he was hoping I would treat him to them. I said I wasn't buying him gifts and to stop asking or hinting about it. He tried to backtrack and say he doesn't expect anything and he was messing around. I ended it. Good night to all. TL, Dr. FWB hinting I bring expensive booze and sent me a link to shoes he wants for Christmas. I don't have money and don't know why he thinks I do. He's Dominican, I'm white. Is this cultural? Sounds like he's using you for more than just sex. Leeches know no cultural boundaries. Cut him off before he starts fishing for your credit card number. He's chancing his arm. Opportunistic loser. Scrub, no loss. One of my friends is Dominican American, and of all the things he's ever said about Dominican culture or customs, he's never said the men expect women to buy us things. His girlfriend buys him things for birthdays, Christmas, or to celebrate a milestone, like when he got a promotion at work. Like, normal gifts. Sounds like this guy thinks you're loaded and wants to take advantage of that. This would be a turn off for me, especially because he is being so presumptuous about you getting him shoes. Would just say, no, I don't think we should do Christmas presents, or if he mentions wanting something, just brush it off like, cool, hope you can get it with your next paycheck, or even just, I won't be buying that for you. I have also been in a situation with a language barrier, and sometimes that just means, cut out all the nuance in your speech. It may sound rude in your head, but if you have to make something clear, you can't couch it in the usual polite waffle that English often has. In my case, the person hearing that message just appreciated my honesty, and it was not a big deal in the end. Oh, nice shoes. Getting yourself a Christmas present is always fun. If he responds with something like "I thought you would want some ideas on what to get me," you can flat out say "I'm not buying you gifts." Then go from there. "I just mentioned it. Smiley face. We shall see how the conversation goes. My daughter, 19F, is battling depression and anorexia. Recently I noticed that her boyfriend, 22M, is starting to suffer because of that. Hello everyone. My daughter is 19 years old and she's currently battling depression and anorexia. She's in therapy and is also taking medication. My husband, 45M, and I, 43F, are supporting her as best as we can, but it's a really tough situation for all of us. It will take some time until my daughter gets better, but she has made a lot of progress already and I couldn't be more proud of her. My daughter's boyfriend, 22M, is a real sweetheart. He's a very nice young man and he's exactly the type of man that every mother wants her daughter to be with. In fact, my husband and I basically adopted this young man into our family because he's almost like a son for us. Unfortunately, I have recently noticed that my daughter's boyfriend has changed a lot. It's very clear that the whole situation with my daughter is affecting him too and causing him a lot of sadness. He comes over to our house almost every day and he's simply not the boy he used to be. A few days ago I overheard a little part of a conversation between him and my daughter and he said that he's worried about her and he's terrified of losing her. I want to help him somehow, but I don't know how. Obviously he's not actually my son so I can't tell him what to do. But this boy really needs some help. He might be starting to slip into a depression himself and this really hurts me. Is there anything I can do for him? Too long didn't read. My daughter has depression and anorexia. Her boyfriend is starting to suffer because of that as well and I want to help him. Well, there's not much. Watching someone you care about have serious health problems is hard, as you know firsthand, and there's not much that makes that easier. On the upside, you are already doing a whole lot of things right, mainly making sure your daughter has appropriate care. It's a whole lot harder when proper care isn't attained. But since you do have a good relationship with him, you can simply talk to him. You can tell him how you know this is really hard on him too and ask how he's doing. You can let him know how much you value you and how glad you are that your daughter chose such a wonderful boyfriend. You can ask him if he has anyone to talk to about what he's going through. He probably would not be inherently inclined to vent to you for two reasons. One being that you are also closely affected by your daughter's problems and he would likely not want to make you feel burdened by talking about the stress of them to you, and because it's your daughter and he wouldn't want to say negative things or make it seem like he doesn't value his relationship to your daughter to you, even if there are currently struggles attached to it. But if you talk a bit about how you know it is hard for everyone close to your daughter too, you too might be able to offer a bit of emotional support to him or encourage him to talk to friends or a therapist himself. But it is going to keep being painful and scary, which is why the most helpful thing is your daughter continuing to get help, which is already happening. I would definitely not bring it up to your daughter, but maybe gently ask him how he's doing and try to guide him toward therapy for himself. That's a tough one. Maybe bring up that it might be helpful for both of them if her boyfriend joins one of her therapy sessions once. They need to discuss healthy boundaries and a social network. But as your daughter's mom, it's quite hard to intervene. Would try to continue showing your support for both of them. Maybe when both of you are alone you can express that it's tough to see someone you love suffer so much, and that it's probably also rough for him and he's welcome to ask for any support he needs from you. And you're happy to relieve some stress from him if there's something you could do. I would be careful expressing that in front of your daughter though. It's probably already a lot on her mind that she's causing difficulty for her loved ones, and when battling depression words get twisted into guilt in my experience.